I would like to begin from the last question and move upstairs. But before I do that, Prime Minister, please indulge me to also acknowledge the leadership of the various political parties, the youth wing of the various political parties, that in solidarity with the National Youth Authority and the youth of the country have joined us today at this media lunch and press engagement. I do see several national youth organizers of political parties here with us. That should indicate to us as young people that we are ready and willing to engage and to involve youth from diverse backgrounds, all spheres of life, without any recourse to their politics or any other considerations, be it religious, political, or even your economic backgrounds. So we thank you for coming, and we look forward to more and more engagements of such. Let me also use the opportunity to confirm that indeed it is true that His Excellency the President's instruction to us is to ensure the construction of 16 regional youth resource centers as safe spaces for youth congregation. We also do notice that because the youth are not just the major participants, but they are also the beneficiaries of sports, our youth resource centers are also sports heavy. So in our youth resource centers, you will find FIFA standard football playing field. You will find 4 stands with the capacity to seat over 5,000 spectators. You will find multi-purpose courts that can do several disciplines such as volleyball, netball, basketball, and so on. You will also find in our resource centers, counseling centers to deal with issues such as, for instance, teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, and so on. You will find those counseling centers in there. You will find also ICT centers and libraries for use by young people. So in the vision of His Excellency the President, there's a need for the creation of safe spaces for congregation of the youth of the country, and that is what has underpinned the construction of the 16 regional youth resource centers, 10 of which are under construction currently. 10 are currently under construction. We are hopeful that by the end of this year, 5 out of the 10, and by the 5, I am referring to the youth resource centers at Koforidua, at Dunkwa Onofin, at Doma, at Axim, and at Wa. These 5 resource centers, we are hopeful that by the end of the year, they would be completed and handed over to the National Youth Authority for the use by the youth. On the question of the maintenance, I believe that this is a conversation that we all have to have and encourage us to develop the culture to maintain facilities that are constructed at great cost to the state. However, from us and in acting with directions we have received from the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports and the governing board of the National Youth Authority, we have developed a maintenance and management manual for all of our facilities that are under construction. My colleague can pass by the office at his leisure time. I would be too pleased to share the information with him, but let me assure him and the people of Ghana that there is a management and maintenance manual that we have developed with a view to be able to maintain the facilities which will be under the general management of the National Youth Authority. The National Youth Authority over the years has operated the Youth Skills and Leadership Training Institutes. My colleague asked a question about rehabilitation of many of our centers. I think that he may be referring to the leadership institutes, for instance, the one at Afienya, we have one at Takrasi, we have one at Avenopeme. There are 11 of them across Ghana. If that is what my brother is speaking to, let me also use the opportunity to inform that in keeping with the pre-tertiary bill, which was passed recently, in the vision of His Excellency the President, to refocus attention on technical and vocational education, a move that the National Youth Authority is proud of and we support heavily, because we are clear in our minds that one of the critical ways to deal with the issue of youth unemployment is through technical and vocational education. And the attempt by His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and the NPP administration to refocus attention on TVET is in the right direction, and we support that. In that regard, all facilities, institutions, and centers that were offering some form of technical and vocational education have now been consolidated under the Technical Vocational Education TVET Service Agency, which is an agency under the Ministry of Education. 10 out of the 11 resource centers or the institutes, the leadership and skills training institutes that otherwise were managed by the National Youth Authority, has therefore, in keeping with the pre-tertiary bill, been transferred to the TVET service. And the National Youth Authority continues to maintain, manage, and own the institute at Afienya, which the board has given approval for us to change into a youth center of excellence to focus on youth development work and to deal with related matters. So the rehabilitation of our institutes is now under the mandate of the TVET service. But before then, extensive rehabilitation works had been sponsored and done by the National Youth Authority, and many of our institutes were in great shape at the time that the TVET service took over. We hope and pray, and we are confident that the TVET service will continue in the stead of the National Youth Authority and continue to focus heavily on renovation and maintenance of those institutes. Honorable Deputy Minister is right. The job fairs were the product of the sister agency, the Youth Employment Agency. But because the National Youth Authority sits on the board of the NYA, and because the board gave approval for these job fairs, we do know that these job fairs have yielded great results. There has been interest. In fact, I can report that there are many agencies that have reported to us that out of the job fairs that were organized by the Youth Employment Agency, many recruitments have been done. There are many other modules that the NYA is rolling out. What we have done and will continue to do at the National Youth Authority is to now play our role of coordinating, because, like I said, the National Youth Authority is the apex body responsible for the holistic development of the youth. But youth development is cross-cutting. There are the issues of youth job creation, there are the issues of education, there are the issues of health. So at the National Youth Authority, we play the coordinating role and operate from the top, having a bird's eye view of all the operations of all the agencies and ministries involved in the ecosystem. What we have done and will continue to do is to organize the meetings, the coordination meetings, so that we can harmonize not only the operations, we can also get feedback on the concerns as has been raised by my dear friend from TV3. The National Youth Authority, in that spirit, therefore, will look for the information relative to the numbers, which I do not have at the moment. But because we are a coordinating unit, we do make pledge to you that we can reach out to the NYA and get in specific terms the numbers that have been recruited as a fallout of the various job fairs that they have organized. But generally speaking, those job fairs have been a success, And we commend the YEA for the foresight and for what they continue to do for the youth of this country. I thank you.